Hello, this is Dominic for Kit Guru, and today we are looking at the T300 Qi Asus Transformer Book. As the name suggests, this is the model above the T100 Qi we looked at a few weeks ago, and it's a 2-in-1 laptop hybrid. I'll go through the key specs and then we can take a look at the different aspects of the hybrid in more detail. So we have the new Core M5Y71 processor, which is the most powerful Core M processor that is available. That is clocked at 1.2 GHz and turbos to 2.9. Alongside that is the integrated HD Intel graphics, and this is the 5300 HD graphics with the Core M. There's also a SanDisk 128GB M.2 SSD, 8GB of DDR3 RAM, and there's a very sharp 2560 by 1440 display. So that's all the key specs. Pricing will cost, this variant will cost you $799.99 in the UK. There's also a cheaper version for, I think it's a penny under, £670, but that has a slower Core M and less RAM. So if you're spending that much money, you might as well get the slightly faster version. So onto the design of the laptop. It's very much the same as the T100 Qi. That is the 10.1-inch transform book in Asus's range. I think there's also an 8.9-inch version, but we haven't seen that, so we can only comment on these two. So the first things first, what makes it as a transformer is, if I just pick this up, the screen, give it a nice tug, just pops off like that, and then you've got the dock, and you've got now a tablet, a fairly large 12.5-inch tablet, but nonetheless you've got full tablet compatibility. It knows when it's been detached, so it goes straight into tablet mode. You can just flick through, and there you have it. You've essentially got now a large and quite powerful tablet. That slots back into there we go, and now we're back into laptop mode. All quite straightforward, and it's actually quite an elegant solution. We've seen Asus have also done this swivel thing where you can swivel it round. Obviously that means you can keep everything in the power base, but this transformer book, it just attaches and you've got a laptop and you can leave the keyboard at home when you're going out and about. Because of this, it means everything is housed, the battery, processor, RAM, etc., literally everything is housed in the top, in the tablet section itself. And that means to keep things thin, Asus have neglected any full-size connectivity ports. So we start on this side, we've got a combo audio jack here, there's your Windows button and the volume rocker. At the top there's a power button. Flip it round to this side, we have there's a AC power adapter. It's a proper power adapter this time. The T100 Qi came with a phone, tablet, micro USB charger, fairly standard thing, but this is a proper power brick, and that is 33 watts it's rated. And then here there's a micro USB 3. Asus give you a little adapter so you can plug in a USB 3 to, well, micro USB 3 to proper 2 USB 3 ports, full sized. So you don't lose all connectivity options if you don't have any micro USB pen drives or something, but you do have to carry around another cable. And that is that for connectivity ports. So no full-size connectivity ports is the main talking point, but it's not the end of the world considering how thin the laptop is. So obviously this is larger than the Asus T100 Qi because it's a 12.5-inch display rather than a 10.1-inch display, but it is still quite light and portable. With the dock, it's just 1.45 kilograms, so it's actually still very, very light. The tablet itself is just 0.76 kilograms, 760 grams, so it's, for a tablet it is quite hefty, but then again, it's 12.5 inch, you don't really see tablets go that large. Now if I close the lid and show you the side like this, It is 19.1mm thick at its thickest point here, and the tablet itself is only 8.1mm thick when the dock is not attached. So things are actually very portable and very slim. You'd have absolutely no problems putting this in your bag, taking it off to work, off to university. I think the innovation with the Transformer book would be very popular with students, I'd imagine. So it is very light, very portable, and that's all fine. The keyboard, it's the one problem with the Bluetooth keyboard. There's a nice key travel. It's quite satisfying to type on. The only problem is when you close it or turn off the Bluetooth keyboard itself, there's often lag when you turn it back on and you're trying to type things. Your keys take a few seconds to register, and before you know it, you've written sentences when you think you haven't written anything at all. So that is a minor problem, but it's only really when the keyboard's just been turned on or you've just opened the lid. Other than that, it's quite nice. It's bigger than the T100 Qi. It's more of a full-sized typing experience now. Before it was slightly cramped, but now it's absolutely fine. So that's the keyboard. Now, on to performance. The Core M 5Y71, as I say, it's the most powerful Core M that Intel have released in the general Broadwell family. That's the family it fits into, and this is the first Core M I think we've seen at Kit Guru. So a few weeks ago I looked at the Dell Vostro 153549, and that had a Broadwell U i5 5200U processor. And the U denotes ultra low power, and that particular processor was rated at, had a 15 watt TDP. Now this Core M has a 4.5 watt TDP. So you might think, well, performance is not going to be great. There's been a fair amount in the press about performance on the Core M not being so great. It's manageable, it's usable, but it's not fantastic. In this particular setup, with the SSD and the 8GB of RAM, performance was actually fantastic. Just to give you a comparison, in PC Mark Vantage it scored excuse me, it scored over 9,000 marks, and that is 3,000 more than the Vostro 153549, as I say, which is powered by the i5 5200U. So it is actually more than enough for all your general tasks. Emailing is an absolute breeze. You can do web browsing, video streaming, everything is absolutely fine, and it's actually a very fast and responsive system. That is no doubt also down to the SSD. The i5 5200U on the Vostro was limited by the hard drive, the 5400 RPM hard drive, but this M.2 SSD is lightning fast, and the Core M with it, there's no slowdown at all really. It was a fantastic performer. The one problem with Core M though is its fanless design. Well, it's not a problem, it's just an area to comment on. The fanless design means it's absolutely silent, which is great, but it can get quite warm. Not especially so, just it can cause a problem when it's in tablet mode. In laptop mode it's fine, because you're not usually touching the back of your laptop when you're using it. But when you're holding it in your hand, we found the max temperature we saw with Core M was 71 degrees centigrade. And if you're holding that in your hand, that is quite uncomfortable, so it's not always ideal. But as I say, it's only problematic in tablet mode. It is just something to consider. If you're just going to use this as a thin and light laptop, you'll have no problems whatsoever. And obviously, as I mentioned, there's the 128GB SSD. For a tablet, that is absolutely fantastic. You don't tend to get tablets with more storage than that. However, for a laptop, it is on the small side. Asus do give you 1TB free of their online cloud storage program, and you can also slot in a 128GB micro SD card. That's the maximum supported. So as I say, it's good for a tablet, but most laptop users will probably eat through that in no time at all with any movies, documents, pictures, what have you. So it's just something to think about. If you just want a glorified tablet, which can be a laptop, it'll be absolutely fine. And that's that. On to the battery life. Core M does mean battery life is very, very good because it's such low power. It doesn't consume hardly anything. So in PC Mark battery benchmark, just looping it, it lasted for 4 hours 18 minutes, which is a very strong score. That will give you absolutely all day performance. I have no doubt if you're using this less than frequently, if your use is intermittent, you'll use it, put it down, come back to it. This could last you 12 hours, I think, something around that, because the battery life is really, really strong. On that note, however, if you just leave it in standby, the battery does drain faster than we'd expect with tablets. On my iPad, for instance, I can use it one day on 100% and then come back to it a week later and it's only drained about 5%, which is great. With the T300 Qi, I used it one morning, left it on, closed, so it was in hibernate mode, came back to it the next evening and it had all but drained. So standby is not ideal, but when it's in use, the battery life is fabulous. So that is more or less it for the T300 Qi. There is just one more thing to comment on. If I just quickly go to the desktop here, you can see it there. You're bombarded, quite literally bombarded, when you turn on the T300 Qi. Asus online storage is coming at you saying please register for your 1TB free. There's an antivirus, McAfee I think it is, antivirus is coming at you saying you need to register, you need to download this, this and this, etc, etc. And then I think there's even Asus even trying to register you for Asus online features for registering your product and so on. So that is quite annoying. Oh, there we go, look, Asus web storage just there. It's quite aggravating, but I think because I'm just using this as a sample review, I haven't bothered to get rid of any of it or actually register my devices. If you bought this, you would be more inclined to make those things go away and they wouldn't come up. For me though, that is just a slight niggle. Last two things to comment on, we've got 802.11 AC Wi-Fi, which you would expect, and there's also Bluetooth 4 is supported. So that is more or less it for the T300 Qi. It's a very strong performer with the Core M5Y71 processor. It's quite a mouthful. And the key thing with that is ultra low power, 4.5 watt TDP, and it is still a lovely performer with the M.2 SSD and 8GB of RAM. So this is Dominic for Kit Guru, and this is the T300 Qi.